Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading into game number 2 versus Federal Extreme Union versus Worldwide Wipers. Game number 2. FEU actually secured game number 1 very solidly after a very, very even game up in the very beginning until they started taking objectives, and with those objectives slowly built up a lead. Not quite as jerky, I guess, as other League of Legends games in which one team just snowballs way out of control. Instead, these guys are very well close with one another, and it leads to very fascinating as well as very fun and close games, and nobody wants anything more than close game. And hopefully we will see up to game number 3 here. We have finished bans, and we are heading into the first pick. Rumjarum deciding to take Udyr. Again, we see the bans on Shaco, Lee Sin, and actually Janna. I guess they had difficulty with Janna the last game, and in reply, Worldwide Wipers having difficulty with Stealth Breed's Karthus. We do see that Karthus ban.
Yeah, that Karthus was, it was just so annoying for Worldwide Wipers. Just they did not have an answer to him, really. If you think about it, Prizzo did a fantastic job mid. He was just doing, good job shutting him down and everything, but it didn't matter. Just because as soon as Stealth Breed just picked up a couple kills, he was adding phenomenal amount of damage throughout the entire game. We do see a Kog'Maw pick here. And a Shyvana pick. Now, Shyvana was banned last game, so it's going to be interesting to see her dynamic, especially against Udyr, because last time we saw Nocturne go up against Udyr, and that didn't work out as best as we imagined it, just because, again, those paranoia ganks were not as effective as it could have been. But for now, we're going to see how effective it is, as Shyvana is definitely one of the strongest junglers right now in today's meta.
And, of course, with that quick, I can expect to see, since now Yetz is no longer on Nocturne. Nocturne, a very fascinating jungler with that kind of an AoE every several attacks kind of a thing, but Shyvana a lot quicker still. I would like to see a lot more aggressive counter jungling to shut down Udyr from being allowed to just kind of wander around and flex muscles and pressure all the other lanes, which did prove to be a little bit difficult for that last game.
Yeah, so we'll see how it's actually going to work out here. Leona, I think Leona is probably one of the best supports right now, just because of, again, the amount of sustain that you're able to really bring to a lane with Soraka and Zona are very limited versus the amount of CC you could bring. And that's what kind of excites me about the upcoming support, Lulu. But more importantly, Leona is just unbelievably strong with Graves, because Graves, with that early quick draw burst, or quick draw buckshot burst, aligned with Leona's passive, just brings out, that's right, tons of damage. And it's just, I'm looking forward to doing it. Of course, Xantius, he's not jungling Leona, because that's just terrible, so don't get alarmed by that. We see a Mundo pick. Oh, interesting. Shyvana, we thought is a jungler, but actually they're gonna go ahead and pick up Mundo, at least from the looks of it. Now, Mundo, we saw a lot picked at Hanover, especially CLG running Mundo. What are your thoughts about him as a jungler?
Mundo as a jungler, besides going where he pleases, Mundo is a very fascinating champion. Was a little bit weak up until about a year ago, when the slight changes to Mundo over and over again makes him a very solid champion, but doesn't really shine all too well in competitive play until the last couple of months. And Mundo in the jungle, I cannot say that he's a very quick jungler compared to others, but the fact that he's got sustainability as well as his natural tankiness makes him an awesome champion, because with those cleavers, he'll go where he pleases.
Well, Mundo does clear pretty fast, actually. If you put some early points into the Burning Agony, he just actually clears surprisingly fast. In fact, he does race at level 1, probably one of the fastest, other than Shyvana, actually, speak of the devil. But it's interesting just because they have those two really, really tanky people. Because we were talking about earlier, the way that they were playing Kog'Maw was trying to see if they can protect it. But this time, we see them picking up Kog'Maw for themselves. So we'll see whether or not WWW is going to be able to flip that around. But for now, we see Stealth Breed actually picking up Kennen, and what do you know? He's going to pick up Nidalee as well. So interestingly enough, though, that they pick up Nidalee, they go for split pushing, but she doesn't have teleport, which is an interesting kind of thing to note because usually if you go for split push and you try to push as far as you can, teleport into the battle so that way you don't miss a beat and that way you can apply pressure to all lanes. Let's go ahead and try to look at the last pick here. Prizzo picking up Corki for his team. Now, Corki is an interesting dynamic because they don't actually have a direct AP mid, although
Kog'Maw,
could they send Kog'Maw? Yeah, I was about to
perhaps.
think that. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, Salsi actually has been running Kog'Maw mid a few times in the past couple days, and I have to say Kog'Maw is a very fascinating mid lane because he's not quite like a whole lot of other mid lanes. He can still do damage with his auto attack since it's relatively fast and of course
Wow.
relatively quick. But yeah, I guess they are going to run mid lane Kog'Maw.
All right. Well, we'll actually have to see how this turns out. And AP Kog'Maw is very underrated. He adds an incredible amount of damage, especially as soon as he gets his living artillery up with his tears of the goddess. He's just able to spam as much as he wants. And he's picking up cleanse because again, Kog'Maw is just so easy to catch and manipulate because he has no direct escape. Let's go ahead and talk about summoners here. Again, no exhaust picked up for FEU. The name was escaping me, but we see double exhaust actually for WWW. It's interesting. Again, considering that Shyvana, she needs that exhaust because she doesn't have a way to really catch people otherwise, other than that initial dragon transformation. And then Mundo is really, really big on counter jungling. And actually we didn't even see too much of that. Both teams kind of respect each other's jungle space. Maybe a steal of the blue here and there from Raws on the blue, but for the most part, we didn't actually see that much invasion last game, did we?
No, not a whole lot. I was expecting actually to see Udyr be a lot more aggressive to Nocturne in the jungle just because he was tankier pretty much the whole game last time. Now this time around we've got both very naturally tanky junglers. We've got Dr. Mundo and Udyr, but more fascinating, we've got Mundo with exhaust smite instead of the flash smite that Exantius is running. Exantius did prove to be an excellent Udyr with the flash and stun combination that is so brutal, especially if it lands on a champion very out of place. On the other hand, we've got Mundo who can just walk around, throw his cleavers, turn on the burning agony, and waltz around, dealing damage wherever he goes. And without Flash, on the other hand, that could just end up being suicidal.
Yeah. We'll have to see how that actually turns out. Again, it comes down to really good ward placements. That's kind of how invasion works. But the way it really needs is that you need people who push really well. And Corki can clear pretty fast. So can Shyvana. We'll have to see. It's a huge wild card, but Prizzo's Kog'Maw, AP Kog'Maw, is what we're going to have to look towards to see if he can make a play. Interestingly enough, we see both bot lanes picking up heal and ignite as their complementary summoner spells to flash, which does mean that they want to go for heavy burst, and that's kind of how Taric and Leona work. They're pretty much different variations of each other, and Corki and Graves do actually have some respectable amount of burst damage, especially in complement with their supports. We'll see how that works out. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting to know is that top lane really doesn't have CC at all.
Yeah.
In fact, Nidalee and Shyvana pretty much have movement speeds buffs. That's pretty much all they really have in terms of being able to catch the other person. So it'll be interesting to see. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see it turn into a farm lane. Although Shyvana is melee and Nidalee can harass. We saw her last game, doing a good job pushing back Yetz's Riven just by constantly auto-attacking and eventually got to the inner turret. So we'll have to see if Ra is going to be able to do the same exact thing. But this time we see Yetz is actually going to jungle and Lunar Redic's going to go ahead and take top. So that's kind of what the changes going into game number 2. And overall, I'm excited to get this game underway, Michelle. Looks like we're getting to the final countdown. And overall, do you have any last thoughts going into this game?
Last thoughts. Kog'Maw here with the cleanse here in the bottom lane. I'm not sure if that was the best choice. Here's the predicament that a lot of AD carries end up in. They take cleanse and another summoner spell, of course, usually flash, not all the time though. But with that cleanse in that bottom almost kill lane that they've got with Leona, that could end up spelling certain doom if Kog'Maw can't manage to survive with cleanse. Even though you can cleanse, Leona has multiple stuns, and if you cleanse at the wrong time, Graves is going to clean you up. And regardless, even if you do cleanse at the right time, it's a matter of, can you survive before Graves bursts you down? Like, can you react with a cleanse and then walk away before Graves comes and gets you? So I'm very fascinated to see how bottom lane works out. And Tarek can only do so much. You can only stun one champion at a time, and that stun is massive for the amount of time that it's worth. But Leona has multiple stuns from various distances, and even though one of them's a channel, one of them you have to actually melee. That's, I think, bottom lane could end up swinging very heavily in Karamjarum and Laudandis' favor if Perzo and Alexman can't manage to, Corki and Alexman can't manage to stay alive. Corki does have Valkyrie, but Kog'Maw, on the other hand, I'm so sorry, I just butchered that so badly. I'm used to seeing Kog'Maw bottom and not AP. But Kog'Maw with the AP, the cleanse for Kennen will get him out of the Maelstrom. But if Leona ever decides to initiate on Perzo, that's going to spell very, very certain doom.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if that actually comes to play out. So thank you for those last comments. So we're here in this game, and let's go ahead and introduce our teams here. In the top right, who do we have, Michelle?
In the top right, we have Worldwide Wipers. The bottom left corner will be Federal Extreme Union. Both teams have switched for this game. Switch sides.
Yeah, so they essentially switch sides, which is, of course, a good way to see a team's versatility. Can they fight on the opposite side? Because there's just different opening dynamics based off of, objectives and invasions. Now, we see immediately Worldwide Wipers is lining up here just to the north of the mid lane bush. Are they going to set up to stop Exantius' blue attempt? We do see Nidalee placing some traps here, and they're actually going to walk over it right over here, and that's going to change a lot of the dynamics. Exantius at least knows to run away, and how is he going to adapt? Because Udyr really needs blue, but it looks like actually Worldwide Wipers is backing, and Lunar Reddick actually steps over yet a second trap, so revealing that they're actually backing off right now. Exantius definitely breathing a sigh of relief after that one.
Yeah, ping's going down by both teams, and I don't know if Little Reddick's just having fun there or deciding, I'm just going to clear these just in case he decides to run in here a little bit later. Stealthbraid trying to protect blue buff, but actually Karamjarum and Laudandis looking to leash the small golems very solidly. And another, thing I have to mention before I forget, Little Reddick here has decided to take top lane, switching with Yetz in the jungle. So Yetz no longer on that very frustrating Riven Nidalee matchup in top lane, instead placing Little Reddick like, hey man, you take care of this guy, I'm done with it.
Yeah, does not want any part of it. So as we get underway, again, I want to thank ggClassic for putting up a great show, and actually, we see immediate attempt for Yetz to move towards top and set up for level 2 gank. Of course, this is really popular to do right now, just setting up level 2 ganks with Mundo. In fact, that's actually why Riot was talking about nerfing it. But actually, we see Xanthias is going to get caught here by Yetz, and Yetz immediately activating his Burning Agony, doing some fantastic damage. Xanthias forced to flash. Good heads up play there. Xanthias realizing that Yetz did not actually have flash, so he couldn't actually chase over the wall. But we do see Yetz is still not done with it. He's going to land a cleaver here on Ra, and all of a sudden he's actually in a very awkward position, and Ra forced to burn flash. So 2 flashes forced out here from Yetz, and that's exactly what Worldwide Wipers needs to start this game here.
Yeah, and which is absolutely wonderful. In the meantime, Perzo and Stealthbraid looks like, I was kind of hoping that Yetz would come into the middle here and force a flash out of Stealthbraid too, but it looks like that's not going to happen, unfortunately. We are seeing a Kog'Maw here with almost a full minion wave amount advantage of CS to Stealthbraid, and Stealthbraid just, I guess, having difficulty here last hitting with Kennen.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how, if he's able to farm really. Like, if he's able to really capitalize on that and really punish Kog'Maw, just because, again, he's really hard to farm as AP early on stages. In the meantime, we'll have to see how the advantage is being pressed. We see Luna Reddick actually getting super aggressive. Look at how far she's pushing on Raw, and that's exactly what they need to do. ggClassic doing the same exact thing, and this is going to pave way for Yetz to just invade their enemy's jungle and be able to take everything, because the pressure on the lanes is going to be really hurtful if they choose to leave it to a sister jungler. And looks like Worldwide Wipers for now executing what they need to do. Xantius hinting that he wants to go towards the top and set up for a gank here, Silver Dirge.
Yeah, and Luna Reddick will walk straight into Xantius, and he's just going to walk away. Shyvana naturally very quick, but still taking a lot of free damage here. Raw is just like, I'm going to continue farming. Thanks for the help, man. And Shyvana is actually going to remain here in top lane. Does still have a couple pots left to burn, so no forcing to back up quite yet, which will allow Luna Reddick to continue pressuring Nidalee all the way up to her tower.
Yeah, now let's go ahead and look at bot, and we see that Leona is 3, but no real attempt for her to jump on. Yes, speak of the devil, though, does land the Zenith Blade. ggClassic is actually in quite a bit of trouble. Oh, Alex activates the Ignite on Ladandis, but is that really what he wanted to do? ggClassic forced to burn heal, but ggClassic, the last tick, does pick up first blood for Ladandis, and that is huge, actually, especially because it's Graves. But up top, we see Yetz activates the exhaust here on Raw. Luna Reddick. Remember, Raw did manage to use Flash the first time. Oh, Luna Reddick actually burns Flash as well. Did not need to do that, but really wanted to secure the kill, so at least does end up getting there. So a nice little pickup. But again, the most important thing is that Corki died, but also missed a huge wave of CS at bottom. So that's a really big play there for FEU to pick up that first blood.
And just in time, because otherwise Raw would have been one very dead cat here in top lane. In the meantime, Stealth Breed and Perzo continuing to pressure one another. We got a Reindeer versus a Yordle. Who could possibly win this lane? Yetz, I think, has been continuously looking for a way to gank here in middle lane. Stealth Breed showing a very commanding presence if he's allowed to, I guess, run away with it. And Yetz does have blue buff for cooldown. Champion is waiting in the eaves there for a chance to take down Stealth Breed, but the fact that they've got this ward up here, I'm not sure if Stealth Breed managed to see Yetz there walking by, but I think he's got some sort of an inkling of idea that Mundo is going to go where he pleases and is nearby.
Yeah. And some people might be wondering, like, why was Mundo insisting on waiting for the gank rather than just, letting it go and not wasting your time. Cannon was not 6 yet, so it was really important for Prizzo to be able to press that advantage before Cannon gets that slicing maelstrom and just becomes an absolute devastating force in team fights. So it was really important to try to see if we can shut Cannon down before then, but Stealth Breed doing a good job. And honestly, Prizzo was just kind of not forcing Stealth Breed to the right side. I mean, Stealth is hugging the right side of his lane. That's because Prizzo's hugging the left. So Prizzo needed to force him the other direction, but a good job there by Stealth Breed to stay safe. We see Xantius actually motioning like he wants to jump onto Kog'Maw, but a little bit of indecision. Not really any move made from either team just yet. Prizzo still playing a little bit more aggressive, but he's now walking in dangerous waters here, Michelle.
Yeah, Xantius is still waiting the same thing that Mundo did up there in through that bush, but Prizzo knows that he's there. He'll be walking around to try to get... Oh, actually, assuming that Udyr is actually going to wait in there to steal red buff. But Yetz will be able to take that on his own with no difficulty, and Xantius unfortunately wasting time trying to find a gank and trying to find where Yetz is in the jungle.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to go ahead and talk about how it's just really interesting how passive the junglers have been without their invasions. Udyr is a very, get inside, do your race, and get out kind of jungler just because he can bear Phoenix, bear out. And, same thing with Mundo, just run in, clear, and get out. But neither jungler's really activating that. But Xantius is going to run in here. Does end up getting the bear stun on Prizzo, but Prizzo should be okay, only losing about 1/4 of his health. But still, the damage has been done. It does give Stealth a very slight HP advantage against his opponent here. Again, nothing too crazy going on. Michelle, do you see anything going on in other lanes?
well, both top lane and bottom lane are pushed up right up to their towers. Little Reddick has the tides turned now that Nidalee has hit level 7 and thus does have Cougar form, actually looking to steal the buffs, and just no matter where Raw is, just stealing buffs, doing what she can to continue damaging the enemy team through the jungle, or at least pressuring the lanes. It's just no matter where you let Nidalee go, she's going to kill something. And in the meantime, bottom lane, Corki having a little bit of difficulty here with Laudandis being pushed up right up to the tower. Laudandis with control of this lane.
Yeah, and Laudandis, you can even just see in the items, he's up a Doran's Blade and a Vamp Scepter, which just gives him that much more lifesteal, about 15%. Looks like Xanthias and Ra trying to cut off Luna Reddick from his ability to run away and forced to burn her ultimate. And looks like she is able to dragon away Free Willy style just to escape. Now, something important to know is that they did see Xanthias was top, so they could temporarily take control of the bottom jungle, but Yes is instead going to prioritize blue. Now, I want to tell you something. AP Kog'Maw with blue, Michelle, is absolutely one of the most devastating and annoying things ever in lane, especially if he's really good with his living artillery. So look for Prizzo to start being way more aggressive right now in terms of trying to get in that extra poke damage on Stealth Breed.
Especially being able to use that living artillery over and over and over again. I'm sure he will go to town here on Stealth Breed as soon as he gets the chance, but in the meantime, if Stealth Breed ever gets the chance to get even close to Prizzo and whittle his HP down, that will be a very dead Kog'Maw in middle lane.
Well, I mean, yeah, just look at it. Prizzo already is getting super aggressive because he's able to do everything. His Void Ooze comes out every second.
But wow, that was an excellent play there by Karamja taking down Kalik, who just managed to be right in range for Karamja to just dash up and take him down with a very well-placed ultimate. Laudandis bursted him down, and Alex, man, unfortunately not able to dazzle anybody out of that.
Yeah, you know, and that's kind of the nature of it. Again, sorry for missing that, but that's kind of the whole nature of a Graves Leona bot lane. That's how fast you could evaporate, but we see engagements across middle and top as well. Looks like Udyr signifying he wants to do Dragon, so a lot of action all across the map. Prizzo moving towards Dragon because they realize what their opponents are up to, but again, Stealth Breed under a lot of damage. He actually is forced to flash away to avoid more poking from Prizzo. Laudandis kind of caught in an awkward position. He's taking fire from Dragon, and he's completely caught, trying to wait for his quick draw so he can escape through the wall. But for now, we see the first Dragon is going to be secured, but who's going to end up getting it here, Michelle?
Oh, Xanthias looking to try to steal this, but it looks like... Oh, it does look like Worldwide Wipers took down Dragon with 2 kills in their pocket.
That's fantastic. Great job there. Xanthias kind of stood a little bit too long there. A great job there by Alex to utilize his dazzle immediately, realizing he doesn't necessarily need to protect. But we do see that again. Here comes Luna Reddick here to jump onto Stealth Breed, and Stealth Breed even wastes his Slicing Maelstrom, not able to really even land more than 1 lightning bolt. So great job there and pickup kill for FEU, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a fantastic position up here. Oh, sorry, Worldwide Wipers instead. 4 kills to 2 right now, 15.4 to 13.9, so a pretty good early lead here. And we'll see a little bit of invasion as well from Yes. So it looks like they're improving everything across the board this game compared to game number 1.
And Prizzo, very commanding AP Kog'Maw, doing what he does best when he has that blue buff, just living artillery everywhere. Even Xanthias will have none of that. Backs off as soon as Stealth Breed has the chance to come back up through middle lane. Meantime, Laura also doing what she did that last game, Nidalee split pushing, or at least AFK farm top all day long.
Yeah, so Nidalee getting that first turret, which is just so annoying, but for the most part, still being a very big nuisance. Yet actually sees Nidalee, so he knows exactly what Ra is up to. In fact, that's kind of what you need to do. You need to start warding around your internal jungle if you're up against Nidalee, just so you can catch movements of what she's doing and where she is. For now, though, let's go ahead and check back into bot lane. Now, Corki did pick up a couple kills there, which was huge. but Laudandus still has the CS advantage and the overall gold advantage, as currently you can see that he's up about 400 gold and picked up that early BF sword. So still no trades are really allowed there unless they can get a full burst onto Laudandus. But for now, I gotta give it up to Karam, just doing a fantastic job landing all the combos. But we see Yetz here setting up for potential lane gank as well, and trying to turn the tides of bottom, which again, if you can get Corki rolling, Corki is very, very good, especially in the current meta right now.
And Laudandus here in trouble. Karamja there. Oh, trying to save. Excellently done by Karamja, keeping Laudandus alive. He is going to be out of there. Karamja also burning flash to get Summoner heal up just in time. And Laudandus actually sticking around just a little bit. Yetz knows that he's nearby, and Karamja's like, hey, I don't think this is the best idea, guy.
Yeah.
We'll
It's definitely not.
He's still there. Ping's going down on Karamja. They know he's there. Laudandus is low. Kalik, Alexman, and Mundo are there. This could end up being a very brutal, very painful dive after all that work. And yes, there goes the dive. Laudandus in trouble. Yetz does take him down. And Karamja does also burn the ultimate. Wow, that was a poor choice to remain under the tower, and assuming Yetz is gone.
Yeah, and you know, Yetz, Kalik, and Alex wanted to really dive Karamja there, but they saw Kennen was moving down there. But speaking of the mids there, we see Prizzo's actually going to go ahead and start fighting, while Lunaretic is just going to go ahead and Dragon Descend onto Xanthius. Does manage to pick off the kill on Raw. Prizzo's Void Ooze does so much damage, and there it is, a 2-0 swing again. And most importantly, blue buff was taken away, so a great job there by our purple team, doing a fantastic job pressuring lanes again, and really shutting down Kennen as well as Nidalee, making sure they really can't get that comfortable. We see, again, a pretty big lead right now, 7-2, 20.7 to 18 flat, so a good goal advantage going to 15 minutes of the game, and I believe they also secured that dragon, so overall strong control here from WWW to start us off.
Very excellently played. Stealthfree does have a Woda from earlier in this game, but in the meantime, Prizzo has picked up Tear of the Goddess, double Thorns. We are seeing the makings of perhaps a wit's end here on Lunaretic. Has picked up a recurve bow. There he goes. More wards by Tarek, and actually Oracle picked up by Udyr and not used quite yet. Xanthius just holding on to that. And Aegis of Legion, there we go, and there's the wit's end by Shyvana. So I guess we are heading into finally picking up the core builds of each champion. And I guess when it comes down to team fights, if Aurora ever decides to join his team, I guess Dan, what do you expect out of team fights, either in front of Baron, down lanes? Like, who do you think could end up ahead?
Well, the biggest thing is that Kennen is supposed to assert his dominance early on, because EP Kog'Maw is very, very weak early on, and Stealthbeat has not been able to really capitalize on that, because AP Kog'Maw late game, not only is he really fun, but he's really devastating. Raw trying to split push also against Shyvana, but there's just too much damage. Nidalee, despite having tankiness, Shyvana actually outputs an enormous amount of DPS, so you have to be really, really cautious about that. So the way it works is that this team comp is, again, going to be very strong late game. We'll have to see whether or not FEU is going to start coming back, because from now we see that WWW is going to do a good job there, and actually we see the engagement there. Prizzo did end up void oozing away Kennen, and Raw is actually in trouble as well. Yetz is going to continue on the chase. This is kind of the power of Mundo, but Alex does manage to pick up the kill on Laudandus as well. Alex is going to drop though, Karamja picking up the kill, so support's getting on the board. So a lot of actions going on bot and mid lane here, but for the most part, Worldwide Viper still taking the lead, and their lead's only getting bigger at this point.
We are seeing a 4.5k gold advantage too. Worldwide Vipers, FEU trying to hang on to them, to whatever, I guess, sliver of dignity they can for this game, having been turned around very quickly. A 17-minute Baron here for Worldwide Vipers, and I don't think anybody on FEU has an idea. This is an uncontested Baron, folks.
Yeah, and of course Kog'Maw does really good damage to Shyvana, and Yetz with their AoE damage just absolutely adds phenomenal DPS, and just like that, a 17-minute Baron 4-team Worldwide Wipers, and if that doesn't solidify your lead, I don't know what will. 27.6 to 21.6, so a 6,000 gold advantage on top of the global-wide aura. Now, Ladana says, hold on a second, you didn't have that a second ago. He's also down in levels 9 to 11, so you don't want to actually fight as well. And it looks like the consolation prize might be Dragon, but will they even get it, Michelle? Looks like they're actually not going to be able to even secure that. So FEU is under a lot more pressure than they were last game, as Worldwide Wipers is able to really execute their plan, even counter jungling way more effectively this game.
And I'm actually very surprised they didn't decide to go for that Dragon, because the only person around was Tarek, and he was just kind of like waltzing back and forth here in the river. Calic has his hands full in bottom lane, and they just they gave up to position that Dragon. Everybody else was kind of in the top region of the map, and unfortunately, FEU deciding to play it carefully will also give up Dragon. And the more objectives they give up at this point, the more of a lead Worldwide Wipers is going to continue to gain on them, and that's it's just snowballing out of control into their favor.
Well, you know, it's because they didn't have vision, so you can't really blame them too much. They see a Tarek, and obviously Tarek is usually the one who leads the charge with his dazzle and just kind of floats on away. And that's kind of, it's really unsettling. Especially if the way the vision's working right now, if you go ahead and hop onto blue team's vision, you see FEU doesn't really see anything. The most forward vision they have is one ward that was planted by Nidalee. And in fact, Nidalee sees that Shyvana is trying to cut her off, so put a nice little juke there. And Ra is still doing what he does best, split pushing, but this time he doesn't have the momentum that his team had in the past, because before you would see 4-man swings from FEU to really pull away the attention of the Wiper team, but now it looks like they're pushing down mid, and Italy might not have to actually come back to fight here, because right now the way Wipers is moving, they're way stronger and they're going to be able to secure towers.
Especially with that Baron buff. We do see, it's about half expired right now. Rara, jumping over the wall into Yetz. There's the jump across again, but Perzo takes him down almost immediately. Alexman, good dazzle onto Exantius, and Calic trying to follow that up. That was I guess what is that, a third or fourth of Udir's health, and here they go. Little Retic and Yetz pressuring that top lane, and as soon as they leave, Gorky actually pushing down through mid lane. We are seeing a complete turnaround of events. This is like last game, but with different people. Laudandis also getting bursted down. Haram with that CC, unfortunately not able to keep the rest of Worldwide Wipers from taking out Graves.
Yeah, and without Graves, you really can't push back this way, so they're going to lose an inhibitor, almost indubitably, and we also see Kalek is actually going to push down mid as well, so they're going to claim a lot more objectives at this point. Stealth Breed does end up getting dazzled, but will that actually follow up to anything else? No, instead they're just being content with pushing down mid. Now keep in mind, Graves is still down for the count, so they still have the advantage of pushing, and with Kog'Maw constantly poking, with no real amount of sustain as well, this is going to be really devastating to FEU. Looks like Ra does get caught there by another dazzle, but look at the amount of poke. Look at that. Stealth Breed might even go down before the battle even begins. He's forced to back. He can't really do anything, as super minions are now even pushing the top lane here. So WWW activating everything, and looks like Worldwide Wipers is not going to stand for long. Yetz drops Leona here, and Yetz is under a lot of pressure as well. We do see that Laudandis is getting chased down, but he's actually going to barely escape. Prizzo managed to pick off Exantius, and WWW in full control here, Michelle. They executed their plan brilliantly, and they're going to get 2 inhibs here and have a 10-kill lead as well as a 13,000 gold advantage.
It was a very, very quick game. 22 minutes in, and WWW with a massive advantage right now. 12k gold advantage, 12k plus gold advantage, 6 towers up, 10 kills, almost, I guess, as luxurious as their build is. And unfortunately, Kevin here doesn't need this large rod, and you can just see just from anything that he tries to throw out there, it's barely a scratch on the enemy team, and the rest of FEU just has to turtle at this point. They are 2 inhibs down with, I guess, very little hope in sight, unless if they manage to turn around a team fight very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, what are you supposed to do as FEU? You just have to play defensive and hope the other team slips up. I mean, it's still a little bit too early to say, for 100% sure, because there's still that very ever slight margin of possibility of a comeback. We've seen teams like M5 come back from seemingly impossible deficits to even take the game. So you can't really count yourself out only at 22 minutes, but it's starting to get to the point where psychologically as a team, you're starting to really just give up. It's 13-3, you're down incredible amount of towers, you have almost no vision, you can't secure objectives. Heck, it's even dangerous to venture out and take your own buffs as even item advantage. Corki almost done with his Trinity Force. We see Mundo already finishing up his Warmogs and his Ages of Legion, so he's already pretty much unkillable. And Kog'Maw's got his Death Cap as well as getting some beef on him. So overall, the item advantage is pretty scary, not just in golden levels, but just in pure up, straight up engagement power.
And this is a double buffed Kog'Maw. They're going to work their way through bottom lane after taking all of the other towers here. Leona, poor Karam just kind of standing there. Ooh, it takes a lot of damage from a single living archer. There's a second one. A 2-shot half health. 3. Oh, there's the 4th shot. Karamja taking a lot of damage there. Wow, that is massive. Nidalee has finally also picked up the Frozen Mallet, but I'm not sure if that's going to do very much when you let Kog'Maw drool all over your team.
Yeah, and looks like we're going to see a full-out engage here. Dragon Descent looks like Stealthbeard under a lot of pressure. He wants to get Slicing Maelstrom on the entire team. Kalek does end up dropping Rah there. Lunatech does end up cleaning up here there with a nice twin bite. And looks like Prizzo's going to try to clean up everyone there. Look at that. Prizzo doing so much damage. And looks like the Surrender Vote's not going to let this game go on any longer. Good game. Well played all around. As looks like Worldwide Wipers ties up the series 1-1 after a very convincing game number 2. Which does mean we'll go to the rubber match and decide. We'll go to the Ace game number 3 in just a second, but let's talk about that game a little bit more, Michelle, before we wrap it up here. Give me some thoughts right off the bat. What were you impressed with that game? Who would you pin as the most valuable player for Worldwide Wipers?
I would have to say Kog'Maw. Off to a kind of a slow start, but as soon as he started just dominating Stealth Breeds, just I don't know. I was kind of upset with the fact that just watching Stealth Breed there in middle lane, would have liked to see him CS a little bit better. But as soon as Kog'Maw just had that advantage, picked up Tear of the Goddess, picked up the blue buff, and just spun way out of control. There we go. There's that score, 6-0-5. Didn't really even need to use Cleanse at all. Ended up being kind of a useless summoner for Kog'Maw to hold, especially since just Stealth Breed couldn't get any CC offs. Neither could Karamja Rum because she's got her hands full babysitting Graves. But that was I have to say Kog'Maw there that whole game. The live artillery, doesn't even need an Acathian surprise. It's just that massive poke is brutal.
Yeah, big time. It hurts so much, and the most important thing is that they see Leona, so they say, oh, okay, no sustain. So they can't really negate that. And I mean, Kog'Maw didn't even get Riley's. Like when an AP Kog'Maw gets Riley's, that's when it's like, oh my god, I can't believe a champion like this exists. Because then his Void Ooze slows you for an absurd amount of percentage of your movement base. And if he hits you with living artillery, he'll be able to catch you every single time. So it's just a phenomenal job there done by Wipers. Now, I want to also say the importance of Yetz this game in terms of controlling jungle way better. Just being able to really control his blue, because again, normally Udyr loves to waltz into his opponent's jungle and just be able to take it, but Xanthias was pretty much a non-factor, and that's because Yetz was everywhere, pretty much shutting down play. So great job there by Yetz. Pretty underappreciated part of his team right there, just because he had so much disruption. He got so tanky quick, really fast, which allowed him to tower dive an enormous amount. So great job there again by Worldwide Wipers. We'll have to see if FEU is going to come back. Their split push composition didn't work this time. Will they change it up? We'll have to find out in just a second. But real quick, thanks to Stack Exchange as well, the gaming.stack exchange, for sponsoring the ggClassic. It's basically a question and answer site where you can Answer, you can ask questions, answer, and the top rated answer gets you points. From those points, you can win things like gaming consoles, RP cards. Who doesn't love free RP? And the whole idea is, as long as you put ggClassic in your profile, you'll be able to really be eligible to win these great prizes as well as interact. Make sure to check out more information on our Reddit thread that is on r/League of Legends, where you can get more information about Stack Exchange as well as the tournament, as we have some other good matches. In fact, I believe TSM was playing on the other GG Chronicle stream. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah, there's a full schedule posted on the GG Chronicle website, but yeah, I guess that you can find that at ggc.leaguecraft.com and Gaming Stack Exchange at gaming.stackexchange.com. But yeah, I think stream number 1 has TSM versus Raise Your Weapon. I guess the
Nope.
second stream. Second
It's already
stream,
over.
it was already over.
Well, TSM won 2-0. Now, no surprise there, but everyone has been dying to see, how TSM works together, and competitive arena with the new acquisition of Dyrus, that is Marcus Hill. So, TSM, looking for them to make a good run this tournament. We have some really good teams overall. Actually, we saw Dignitas actually advance today because of a forfeit. We have like EG playing later today. And V8 it's also playing later today. CLG was supposed to play, but that was postponed. So we have some really good powerhouse teams here. But the cool thing about this tournament is that you get to see teams that don't necessarily get to make their name because, it just seems like the show match is always the same, 10 teams facing each other. But in this kind of tournament, you get to see a lot of unknown teams try to make a big name. And it wasn't too long ago where some teams were pretty relatively unknown, like Reflex, and then made a huge run through the MLG qualifier, and then all of a sudden became one of those cemented North American teams. So be on the lookout for this tournament, guys. It's going to be a really good opportunity to see the up-and-coming teams for the 2012 season.
Yeah. And we are going to head into game number 3, but in the meantime, I'm going to kill the recording, and we shall head into a quick commercial break, heading into game number 3 between Federal Extreme Union versus Worldwide Wipers. Game number 3. They are currently tied at 1-1 after some nail-biting games. That first game and a very solid play by Worldwide Wipers in game number 2. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.